Hi, everybody. I'm Jeffrey Driscoll.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
Welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame. Jim, where are you coming from today?
Oh, I'm down in the history hut, just doing a little bit of historical shopping.
Yeah, very
ahead
nice.
Ahead of Christmas.
Right.
I got a tree.
Yeah,
as you can see.
Doing good so far. I don't think we have enough frame in there for that tree, Jim.
Yeah, well, usually it's my eagle that we don't have enough for, but today I guess it's the hat, or maybe a combination.
Absolutely, the combination. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special Christmas edition of 15 Minutes of Fame, where we're spreading holiday cheer one sports story at a time. So let's start out with some hockey talk. Actually, most of our rundown here, Jim, is going to be hockey. It's all good stuff. Have you been watching the HBO 24/7 series on the Flyers Rangers?
I have been. You know, I kind of slept on it a bit last year, but I've watched the first 2 episodes this year, and what a show.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, you learn so much.
Yeah.
For example, that the universe is humongous big, and you know, things of that nature.
That's right.
And that if you shoot a tiger in China, you're done.
Yeah,
that's it for you.
Yeah.
But no, I've enjoyed it a lot. I love seeing guys chirp each other, you know, on the ice and in the dressing room and stuff. That's the best part of it. But Brizgalov's been a superstar so far.
Totally. I liked how episode 2 they went all meta and they actually talked about the show, about them being on the show, and it's fantastic. But that stuff's crack. Like, I love that show. That's awesome. I could watch that all day. You're absolutely right.
I think they should maybe for next season, because they have got together with a former HBO guy. So I hope in the future they do like a full season long thing, even if they're jumping between teams for an entire season. That would be a beautiful next step.
No, it'd be absolutely killer. Jim, concussions have featured prominently on the show. The big concussion news this week in the NHL was that Toronto's Colby Armstrong tried to hide a concussion from team staff. What does this say about the attitude shift that has to take place in the league, do you think?
Well, it's a tough one, because concussions and what we know about concussions is sort of an ever-developing thing. And years ago, it was sort of, and you know, with a lot of injuries, it is kind of, if you play through it, you know, you get the respect of your teammates, and you know, you get the respect of, you know, fans and players around the league and coaches, and it shows, you know, that, you know, you're a tough guy who's more about the team than yourself and stuff like that. But with concussions, it's not something that you can really risk, and that's sort of what has to get across to players. And the attitude has to change, because otherwise, let me just fix my hat here. Otherwise, you know, you're going to get more guys that are out for a season or the rest of their career. I mean, look at Chris Pronger. We're talking about 24/7. Here's a guy who's on the shelf for the rest of the season. They didn't know it was a concussion at first. They ran all kinds of tests on him because they thought he had some kind of bug, but it was post-concussion syndrome, and they had to shut him down for the year. And when Colby Armstrong was found to have a concussion, it's because he'd sort of hidden it for a couple of days, and he was barfing in the dressing room.
Yeah.
You know, it's serious business, and the sooner that players sort of, you know, just buy into the fact that it is that serious, the better. Because right now it's kind of like, well, you know, maybe I have a concussion. I don't know. Mine probably won't be as bad as the next guy's, kind of thing, you know. And with Armstrong too, you got to really feel for him. He's been limited to like 9 games this season, just injury after injury, and now, you know, the big word that comes with concussions is indefinitely.
Yeah.
Right. So I can see why he'd want to just, you know, maybe quietly try and ride it out. But you know, it's interesting to see the attitude shift, because it is a big problem, and you know, it's the type of thing that everybody has to get on board. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be a problem that we keep seeing in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Heading into the holiday break, the Oilers were sitting 13th in the West and last in the division with less than 50 games to go, Jim. But they are by no means out of the running yet. They're in a good division that I think they can really make some ground up. But what should the Oilers have asked Santa Claus for?
Well, besides a couple of Xbox games, because you know, they're on the road a lot.
Yeah.
You know, they need that level of consistency. They need to be as well in kind of in a state of mind where every player has a role, knows that role, and plays that role, and just is kind of accepting of what's you know, what their role on the team is. Because when say, for example, a guy like Ben Eager, when he's playing like his game, he's a major contributor in some of the kind of intangibles for the Oilers, but they need to be a team that can put together a strong 60 minutes every night, because right now they're great in parts, okay as the game goes on, and kind of like my hat, they just can't seem to get it right. They're over this way sometimes, and they're back. But the goaltending's been good. The defense, the team defense has been a little off. Offensively, of course, they're playing great. Some of the vets aren't producing as much, but the young guys are carrying the team. Jordan Eberle had a fantastic game a few nights ago. A couple of beautiful goals against Minnesota. But they need that consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan Eberle is out of this world good. I can't believe we got him so high up the draft. He's looking really, really good. Another big deal in the NHL lately has been contact with the goaltenders. It all started with Ryan Miller getting smashed by Milan Lucic, but more goaltenders getting vocal about it. What's the story there?
Well, I mean, Jimmy Howard's the latest guy to speak up. He was run last week, and then they scored on the play. Vancouver did. Pierre LeBrun came out and said afterwards that he heard from the NHL that that shouldn't have been a goal, because he got bowled into the back of his own net, and the puck's into the top of the crease, and it's the third goal in a 4-2 loss, right? So that's tough. And he said after the game that he's sick of being run. Al Montoya, the New York Islanders, he's out with a concussion right now. He was steamrolled in his crease by Evander Kane. And the part of the problem is the NHL is a little bit inconsistent with these punishments. They came out and said after the Milan Lucic thing that this is something that the goalies need to be protected, and there will be discipline. They gave Jordan 2-2 a couple of games for cutting across the crease and hitting the goalie. There was another player days later, Jackman, I think, from Calgary, similar thing, not a mention of a punishment. So until they just make it black and white, a straight up rule, this is how it is, call it like this, you're going to get these lapses in the game. And I mean, the Ryan Miller thing, okay, I'm of the mindset that if a goalie's out by the blue line and there's contact, it's not a big deal, because you have a place in the on the ice that's your home, so you should maybe stay close to that. Or if a goalie comes out and is in a race with a player and he gets run into, well, I'm sorry, but that guy will get benched if he bails on that, because the pursuit of the puck is the whole point of the friggin' game.
Yeah.
So if goalies are out and about like that, I think that they shouldn't be. But if goalies are getting run over in their crease, I mean that is a problem. And when you start to get goalies out with concussions, even James Reimer from the Maple Leafs got kind of decked in his own net. It is a problem, I suppose, but the onus is on the NHL to enforce the rules, or make the rules clear, and then give a directive to the referees to show them what they want to see. And until they do that, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jim. It's like the two sides here are speaking different languages. Speaking of speaking two different languages, or maybe just one language in this case, let's talk about the controversy involving Montreal's new head coach, Randy Cunningworth. What's going on there?
Well, Jeff, he doesn't speak French.
Sacre bleu, Jim.
Ah oui.
Ah oui.
Ah oui. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Le pamplemousse.
See, we could be the coach.
We could totally be the coach.
Because we can speak a little bit of high school French.
That's right.
However, Randy Cunningworth can't.
No.
And despite him having the credentials to be an NHL head coach, they're going to be protesting. They're going to be waving Quebec flags in the stands as if that says, if that's apparently some kind of statement. But yeah, I guess if he makes the effort to try and learn a few words, or brings in a translator, that's what he should do.
That's exactly what he should do.
But the funny thing is, there's other sports, like say for example soccer. They have national team coaches who are from other countries. You can have an Italian coaching England, and I think he speaks English. But still, the point is, it's not really a problem anywhere else except Quebec.
Yeah, that's right.
And can you imagine, Jeff, if a coach came to the Edmonton Oilers who didn't speak very good English or none at all, if all of a sudden Albertans started saying, this guy can't even speak English, everyone would be saying, well, there's those stereotypical Albertans.
Yeah, that's true. It's not an easy subject at all, but
No.
when you start analyzing people for things other than what their qualifications are, like if you're using their qualifications to decide how good of a job they're going to do before you hire them, that's the way to do it. If you're using things outside of that, things start to get a little dicey on my old moral code here.
That's what I feel like, yeah. And I mean, here's the other thing. If they win the next 10 straight games, will it still be an issue?
Yeah, that's true too. They went 0-3 as soon as he got in there. So
winning is the thing that fixes all, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you're right.
It doesn't look good for the team, the way the team's handled it. And I didn't hear any complaints when he was brought on as an assistant coach, so I don't really know what the difference is. It's not like it's a team full of French Canadians.
That's true too. Yeah.
I think there's like 4.
Right.
So maybe they should complain about that.
Let's go from Les Canadiens to the Canadians, Jim. It's full steam ahead for the World Juniors in Edmonton and Calgary. How do you feel about Canada's chances this year? They don't really have very many true superstars on the team. No Sidney Crosbys this year.
No, but there are some good players.
Definitely.
And, you know, that's always the most fun thing about this tournament is that you see all the top players from around the country, and there are always a lot of them. There's some guys that, you know, you maybe have heard of but haven't really seen that much of, so it's good that way. But, you know, they looked a little wishy-washy against Sweden on Friday. They looked good against Switzerland, thank God. And, you know, they looked okay in the pre-tournament. Yeah. But, of course, what really matters about this tournament is the medal round.
Yes, of course.
We all kind of figure they're going to get through the prelim. And, you know, maybe I should knock on wood for saying that.
Very nice.
But, thank you.
Yes.
But, you know, I think they're a good-looking team, and they've got a couple of guys whose NHL clubs loaned them back to the team, which is nice. Gives them a bit extra, you know, I mean, veteran presence in an under-20 tournament. You can call it that. But they're looking good. I hope that the home ice advantage, so to speak, is a big help.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch it. The place is going to be insane. They've sold more tickets, I think, than any other tournament at this point. Also, by the way, a team with just me and you on it could beat Switzerland. There's a lot of variation in how much people care about the tournament. Some like it for the prospects. Others go absolutely crazy for it. And some people, and a lot of them are talking up right now, Jim, think it's all hype. Where are you on the scale? Are you like hype or...
Well, you know, it almost takes away from it all the hype around it, because they really do just drive it down people's throats a little bit around this time of year.
Certainly TSN.
Yeah, I love it. But, you know, if they lose... Who cares? Because it's a dumb tournament if they lose. Right? It's stupid. Right. It's like under 20. Yeah, okay, whatever. If they win, we're the best in the world. And, you know, our young guys are better than your young guys. And so are our older guys.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I'll be glued to the TV for sure. I don't have, you know, I don't work a government job or anything, so I can't afford to go to the games. But, you know...
Right. But you can still watch. That's good. Well, folks, we're gonna
I make enough money to get cable.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to move on, and a fancy hat. I mean, that must cost you a lot of money right there.
Right about that.
We're going to move on to the Christmas time. GABBYs is the good and bad by you. We take the best in the world of sport, and we make fun of it. Good this week to Seattle Mariners player Logan Morrison for pranking the mainstream media, which, again, he tweeted, so he got the whole mainstream media with a tweet, which I love. He says, quote, Prince to Seattle is a done deal, end quote. Then later laughed that everyone thought he meant Prince Fielder. Good on him for that. I like it.
Yeah, it's funny that it's gotten to that point.
Exactly.
That Twitter, people, you know, real journalists spend an hour trying to confirm this rumor that a guy who's a known prankster tweets. But
exactly.
That's, I guess that's 2011. Lord knows what's in store for 2012. Let's give a good to the Indianapolis Colts.
Yes, let's.
Who are riding a 2-game win streak, Jeff.
Huge.
After going 0-13 to start the season. It's kind of a bad, though, too, because if you're going to stink like that, you may as well finish bad, too. And I've said this before, you know, you see a team on a 15-game losing skid, you may as well try and set a record, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Otherwise, you're just almost as bad as the worst. But the reason that it would be more beneficial to them, maybe, to keep stinking up the joint is because there's, of course, the draft pick at the end of that's the light at the end of the tunnel for an 0-13 team heading into the next week. But no, they have to go and win 2 in a row. It may be good for them, though, because if they avoid that number 1 pick, they avoid a controversy with quarterback prospect Andrew Luck, with Peyton Manning maybe coming back, maybe done. Or it's a whole big mess in Indianapolis, but they've won 2 in a row.
Start the train on the parade, Jim. I think two in a row. That's start the parade.
A late push.
Exactly. A good also goes to Luke Babbitt of the Portland Trail Blazers. His business side kicked in when Jamal Crawford signed with the team. They both, of course, wear number 11, and Jamal Crawford wanted it. So Babbitt sold it to him. 12 G's, Jim. 12
That's
grand.
pretty good.
Amazing. Good for him.
Jeff, I'll sell you this hat.
Yes.
For $10.
All right, done.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Only if you let me put number 11 on it. There you go.
How about a huge bat in the world of sports this week is the golf world loses a legend, Jeff.
Huge.
Of course, we're not talking Tiger Woods. We're talking North Korean leader Kim Jong Il, who passed away. He apparently shot one of the greatest rounds in the history of golf back in 1994, a 38 under par 34 at the Pyongyang golf course with 5 holes in 1. And he immediately retired from the sport after that amazing accomplishment.
If I scored that 38 under par and got 5 hole in ones, Jim, I would retire too, because that'd be the pinnacle.
I'm surprised you haven't retired from video blogging as good as you are.
That's right. Let's give a bad to the New York Knicks, who have upped the prices for wheelchair-accessible floor seats at Madison Square Garden due to the renovations happening there. The tickets have apparently gone from $300, man, New York, to $2,850, Jim. $2,850. Come on.
It's something like a 900% increase or something.
Jeez.
That's terrible.
Those must be some prime seats.
Yeah, to blame the renovations. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally, a bad to the Vancouver rioter who got busted this week in the latest round of charges. He was busted because he was wearing a Canucks jersey with his own last name on the back, which is just smart on a whole bunch of levels.
Absolutely.
He should have held his ID out while he was rioting.
No longer are the bad guys going around with like a ski mask or anything. Now they're just got their names
now they're identifying themselves,
that's right.
handing out mugshots.
The punchline this week, folks, is San Jose forward Marty Havlat. He had a bit of a blooper last week against the Oilers, Jim. He went to jump onto the ice for a line change, wasn't able to stick the landing at all, ended up having to crawl back to the bench, Jim.
Hey, we've all had that. Well, I haven't.
No,
and
you
probably haven't.
I haven't
but
really
I guess it happens to some people.
I guess.
The crazy thing about it is he suffered a partially torn hamstring on the play and will miss up to 2 months with that injury. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like
just from that.
How does this happen?
The look on his face too when he was crawling back, and you could feel it. You could feel oh, poor guy.
All on a line change.
All on a line change.
Terrible.
Exactly. Well, folks, that's our 15 minutes of fame up for this week. Join us again next week when we get a whole new 15 minutes of fame. In the meantime, I'm Jeffrey Driscoll.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
Have a happy holiday.
Merry Christmas.
All right.